Well, hello, Crashing In Podcast, and today I am joined by The Good Water. There was meant to be a podcast that was meant to be released last week, but unfortunately it didn't go ahead because basically with the band, I edited the podcast and all that. I told them that the podcast is ready to be released and they asked me if I could hold it off due to reasons I'm not going to talk about because I guess it's a private matter and stuff like that, but unfortunately that couldn't be released, so obviously I didn't have time to edit another podcast in time because podcasts do take a while for me to edit, and I only ever have one day of freedom where I can just edit a podcast, because usually some of them go on for hours, especially when I'm editing them, so it would take longer than the actual podcast to make sure it's perfect and stuff like that. So sorry about that. But today is the Good Water, and we had two psyche sound. Well, we had a psyche band last week, the week before, Teenage Waitress. But when I say psyche with a modern twist, a bit synthy. It had a bit of an 80s new wave feel, the music from the other week. And it's really good stuff, but then I found it a bit psychic at the same time. But anything new wavy is I think is the modern. Well, when new wave came about, that was the modern psychedelic music. It's a very unique sound, and I believe anything that's psychedelic is anything with a unique sound to something that sounds pretty straight and normal, if you know what I mean. Today is a good podcast. The band I got attracted to personally because of, I think it was a picture on the gig poster, maybe. I think it was that. So I decided to check them out, and I realised it's definitely my thing. Hammond organ, and they played the other week, the other month, Stylish Records. It was very Strawberry Fields, because of the mellotron the organist was using because he's a Hammond organ player, but obviously I guess due to it being in a record shop and that, they went for the safe option and went for a mellotron as it's much smaller. So, and it was absolutely great. It was a great acoustic, but on this podcast I'll be putting their actual live show at the Castle in Falcon, and this happened probably around July, September time. So a while back this was. It was a great gig, and I just want to say thank you for putting me on the guest list as well. Also, what I loved about this podcast, I realised we had a lot in common when it comes to music taste. We're very into stuff like Can and stuff like that, but we're very into just the psych scene in general. So it was a very great chat. But I remember doing this podcast, I was a bit in a rush because it was really late at night and I needed to get the last train back home from Birmingham. But rock and roll. So I'm going to hand it over to the Good Water. I'm going to put some of their live, some of their performance on the podcast. They're absolutely brilliant. So I hope you all enjoy this podcast. So here is the Good Water. Crashing In podcast, and today I'm with the band, The Good Water, at the Castle of Falcon, and they just finished their gig, their headline gig on, what's the date today?
22nd, I think.
20, the 22nd of July, because this might be like a month after or something like that. Yeah. So 22nd of July. You want to say hello?
Yeah, hello. I'm Rob.
Yeah.
I play guitar and sing in the band.
Do you want to say the other members?
I will do. Yeah, they're not here at the moment, but they'll be along in a minute. So I'm Rob. I play guitar and sing. We've got Stuart who plays keys. And Tom, who's on drums, and this is...
I think they're in.
You're right, mate. Here's Tom.
Do you want to say hello?
And it's Stu.
You're right.
Oh, yeah. Perfect timing, gents. Fantastic.
Shall I sit on the fridge?
Do you want to sit?
What do you want to say? It's up to you. So, let's talk about this headline gig. You just done what was that like for you guys? And
it was cool, man. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Since we played a gig. To be fair, probably like a lot of bands with everything being so up and down. The last kind of couple of years. And we've been sort of working away in the background quite a lot. We've been writing loads of new songs and rehearsing. So it's nice just to get out and play a show more than anything.
You recently released a new track. Was it Love?
That's the one.
Yeah. And so that came out. Was it? When did that come out?
A couple of weeks ago, I think it was. Now. Yeah.
So how did people respond to that track?
Really well, actually. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of a surprising one because we haven't released anything for a while again, because we've sort of just been concentrating on new stuff. So we just kind of put a track out. We didn't really put too much PR behind it. We didn't really push it that much. We just kind of threw it out there as a bit of new music sort of thing. But yeah, people responded really well. We got a few BBC introducing plays. And a few little sort of tastemaker interviews and stuff for it. So yeah, it was cool, man.
Yeah, cool. It's been 2 years since your last release, wasn't it? Before then, so what's you doing in that gap
Again, we've sort of been writing loads, and doing lots of studio stuff. We've basically got an album and a half's worth of songs recorded. So now is the point. So we've just been recording loads basically and writing loads, and now it's the point where we're going to start to release them and gig them and stuff. Really.
Yeah, so we had a solid set, but it was the same set pretty much. We just moved some songs around. So we thought we kind of need some new material now, don't we?
That's it.
So with that COVID and all that, would you say that was beneficial with writing music or?
In fact, well, it kind of allowed us to write music in a different way because we started to send each other kind of files and stuff, which is something we never really did before. We normally rehearsed once or twice a week, but because of COVID and lockdown, we had to adapt basically. So I think that was the one positive, I guess, from it. And the release of the single, COVID single as well.
Yeah, because we basically, as Tom was saying there, it was we sort of pride ourselves on being sort of a live band. So we've always written, and rehearsed together in a room like that traditional, in a little warehouse somewhere, whatever. We've always done that from day one, really. So all of a sudden, when we couldn't do that, we started sending emails to one another, and out of that actually came a song that we released. A track called Four Walls, which is on Spotify if anyone wants to check it out. And again, that was one that it just kind of happened. So we just chucked it out, and that was it. Yeah.
What would you say the difference between your last release in 2020 and the release Love that came out recently?
I think for me, I've kind of taken a bit more of a hands-on approach with the production. So everything we've released, apart from the first couple of songs, was recorded over your way in Wolverhampton at a studio called RML with a guy called Ryan Pinson, who's a fantastic producer. And the more we've kind of worked with him, he's kind of sort of took us under his wing a little bit and helped us kind of to develop our own kind of studio skills. So we've had more of a hands-on approach to the production, really. So I think that's how things have changed a little bit.
Right. So, would you say your music that you recorded and that's on Spotify and all that? Would you say the sound and your released on Spotify different to your live sound?
No, all of them whatsoever. To be honest, I think we purposely go into recordings trying to sound as live as we can.
Yeah.
We want to hit the audience with the same sort of feeding and production that we do when we live, as we do on the CDs, the record CDs. CDs.
And with Rob taking over more of the production, he's more aware of that as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, no offence to studios and sound engineers, but sometimes there's this kind of template that they use, and then obviously because the bands that they're working with, they might not know as much, so they're just doing what some musicians don't know how to do. But
nobody knows us better than Rob.
Than us, yeah. And I think
I was just gonna say, so how else can somebody else get you to sound the way that you want to sound other than you?
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair to Ryan, who we've worked with, he's the guy that's probably come the closest out of everybody, because he's such a kind of an open guy, and he's he's willing to kind of take our ideas on board as well, which is fantastic. But I think that's the dream of every single band that's ever been. Every band wants the record to sound like their live thing, unless it's some crazy huge production. So that's what we're always striving for, really. Yeah.
So, like, your music, can you like get it on hard copies as well as like Spotify and all that? Yeah,
we've done again old school CDs.
Burn your CD, mate.
Yeah, we've got burn your CD on my laptop. We've had singles, hard copies, and out there in. I think there's probably still a few in HMV knocking around if you're in town, or a few HMVs around this kind of area. I don't think we did. We didn't have any hard copies for the last single. It's just expense as well, isn't it?
Vinyl's the dream, though.
Vinyl's the dream.
That's where we want to be.
Yeah, we're kind of, and we've always said with every release that we've done, we'll do this one on the record, we'll do this one, and then.
But the dream is to do the album.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We're kind of saving ourselves, but for an EP or an album or something. Yeah.
So, can you talk briefly of how you guys met and why you chose like the sound, like the psyche sound for like the music you go? Move that.
Hello. Well, Rob and I went to college together years ago. So I left school, and then Rob, I think Rob's a bit 2 years older than me. So at the time we were in different bands, and then Rob and I afterwards formed another band called Scrambled Man, and then the bass player went off around the world because that's what he wanted to do, and then Rob was in another band called Pint Shop Riot, who did really well on the indie scene. Stu we didn't even know about Stu then. He was in his own band in Brum, doing his own thing and his own circuit and stuff. What was that band that you said you used to support a lot?
We supported the Temper Trap. Alaska.
Alaska, big band at the time.
Yeah.
But then Rob and I just kept meeting up, just having big jams. And at first we were just called Fisher Rocks. My second name's Fisher, and then we just started making noise.
And then Fish and Rob.
Yeah, Fish and
Rob. for about 2 weeks.
And we had some different names, like Bowler Bear at one point. And at the time, it was kind of more of an indie sound, really. I think with my playing, it's a little bit indie, but just different kind of styles as well.
We only had like a handful of songs, didn't we? Really, it was quite sort of garagey, wasn't it? I suppose.
And then over time, we started listening back, so we're like, I don't really like that,
It's always missing something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, because we were a two-piece for a bit, and it was kind of missing something. And then a friend of ours put us in touch with Stu. He was like, oh yeah, I'll play some keys, and obviously we're really into that kind of 60s kind of sound. Oh yeah, I'll play a bit of organ, I'll play a bit of keys.
Yeah, I was out of a band at the time, and I hadn't been in a band for 2 years. I just had my little boy Leonard, and I got in contact, and I was rusty as hell. So I went down there, I just went with a keyboard, and I was like, oh, well, we want you to play bass as well with your left hand. I was like, so you don't want a lot there, so you want Rayman's of that. But with more of a psychedelic.
He was like, do you know the Doors? He was like, yeah, I love the Doors. Like, can you basically play what Rayman plays? He was like, what? Like, you fucking mad.
So I got chucked in the deep end, and that's how it started.
Yeah, and that's how it remains. Yeah.
What would and Stu was the icing on the cake, really.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, sorry, mate. I need drunk it off stage.
Okay.
Probably.
Sorry.
And that DJ Rising Clue, please.
Okay, no worries, mate. Sorry. Do you want to carry on with it?
Yeah.
See you later, mate.
See you later.
Take care.
Yeah, bro.
But I love keys in a band. I love Hammond organ sounds and stuff like that. I'm like a massive fan of Jimmy Smith and stuff like that. So I love like keys in a band. Well, I love Small Faces. And my favourite band ever.
Perfect.
But like, what was your like main inspirations with the like music wise, like that impacted your band?
It's kind of really organic, wasn't it? Really, we never really. I don't think we've ever to this day actually sat down and had a conversation about it.
Yeah,
it just like kind of happens. I mean, it's because we've obviously done a few interviews over the years, and people ask the same sort of question. What why do you want to sound retro, or why do you want to sound? And it's like it's not intentional at all. Yeah. It's just like
my keyboards are really old.
Yeah, that's it. And like my guitar amps are from like the 60s and the 70s, and it's just I don't know what it is. It's obviously some sort of nostalgia that we all sort of feel together, and we kind of because we gravitate towards that kind of equipment. I think when you plug an old 60s fuzz pedal in as a guitar player, or Stu plays an old vintage 70s like synthesizer or something, it sort of informs your musical choices. I think.
But they make things like they used to.
No, they don't, mate. Like the Juno that Stu plays, nothing sounds like it, does it?
Even the sample packs or whatever, you haven't got that ambience, you haven't got the space, the air, the hiss, the little hums here and there on the low end. You plug it into a digital, digital software. It just sounds nothing like it.
But it sounds good. Like we're both into sort of doing bits of production and stuff, and we've got some Arturia plugins who are like a fantastic brand of synths and plugins and stuff, and they're absolutely amazing. You listen to them and like, this sounds incredible, but then you listen to the real thing and it just it doesn't come close, man.
When you got that plug-in, I thought he was getting rid of me.
Check this out. I don't need you anymore. Not a chance.
But I feel like with the 60s sound and stuff like that, it's like with psych stuff especially, like, I find it a really modern sound. Like I had an interview like Johnny Echols, like Out of Love, and I was saying like that Forever Changes album sounds really modern and relevant to today, and I feel like
I think this goes for any genre really. I think if you nail the production and it's polished and you can hear the definition in all the instruments, it will be kind of timeless.
That's what you want. Really,
and that's kind of what we're aiming for really, for something that will kind of, yes, it does sound a bit retro because of the sort of equipment that we're using and our approach to it.
What's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with it at all.
I think it's brilliant, man.
No, that's it. Yeah,
that's what I look for when I'm doing podcasts. I don't want that. To me, just casual indie bands, that's old. That sounds old and boring. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking for
not old and gold.
Yeah,
that's it. Well,
it's very timeless in my opinion.
I think like we were just having a quick chat before we started the recording. It's like I think if you're into that kind of psyche scene, that kind of 60s scene, it's sort of just ingrained in you. And trends come and go. Punk stuff, indie stuff. Grime stuff, whatever you're into, but like that kind of retro 60s kind of sound, it just carries on through, man, and people will always love it, I think.
And the fashion, man, the fashion was great, man.
Love you too, mate.
Let's talk about the band name, The Good Water. So where did that come from?
It is a bit random. Very random, in fact. So there's a documentary that you should check out. It's called Water, The Great Mystery.
Yeah.
I think it's probably still on YouTube. It's quite old now, I think. Going back a few years, I think it was Tom actually that found it, and I think we'd all had a bit of a smoke, and Tom put this documentary on, and it just blew our minds. It was like, I won't get too much into it now because I won't do it justice. You'll have to have a smoke and watch it. But it's about how water is the most amazing substance on the planet, or even in the universe. Like, it's got amazing properties. They've sort of worked out that water has memory and water has emotions. And again, I won't go into all the details now, but we were just blown away by this documentary. So we thought that we kind of tie that into the band name, and sort of just about being positive as well. Like the three of us are like just really positive people. Like our whole outlook on life is like there's zero negativity. None of us are ever in a mood. It's just like we're always happy and we're always just playing music, man. So we want it to be like this positive vibe, you know.
Is that like the same with your lyrics? Would you like keep away from politics and stuff like that, or do you like get a bit into that one?
Yeah, no, it's not. Tom, I think Tom's probably the most political one, isn't he, out of the three of us? Like,
No shit.
without a shadow of a doubt. Me and Stu, we float along, don't we?
Yeah.
Mate? We float along.
I don't mind politics, but sometimes I feel like music should be an escape from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So trying to force politics down people's neck with music is your own sort of personification of you trying to change somebody else's opinion.
Yeah, that's what I don't like.
If you don't want to, it's not about being unopinionated. It's like they always say, you never talk in the pub about what is it, politics, religion, and
money.
Yeah. And you ain't got no money if you're in the pub, you've got no money anyway because you spend it all in the pub, ain't you? So
But
that one goes out the window, so there's only left.
But that's it. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Really, for us, especially with what we do, music is just escapism. Really, I want people to listen to our stuff and just disappear.
It's like you listen to Pink Floyd, and that's just like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Like, what are the lyrics, man?
No, exactly that.
There's no fucking politicians down the fucking rabbit hole.
It's like riding the unicorn and shit like that, ain't it?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think it's what I kind of like to do as a songwriter as well. I sometimes like to make things so obscure that it can be interpreted any way you want, because I think music's such a personal thing. Sometimes if you've got a strong idea for a narrative, a story that I want to get across and tell somebody, then I'll do that. But a lot of the time, I like it to be so obscure that the listener can take on any kind of meaning that they feel that it is, and then it becomes personal to them. You know?
Yeah, man, like a Dali painting.
Exactly.
It's like it annoys me when someone tells me what's the real meaning of a song. Like, what is it? I remember there was one song, Turning Japanese, and that's about wanking. And I didn't really think of it like that. Like,
I'm gonna have to listen to that.
Wolf wanking.
Obviously.
You can't get that out of your mind whilst you're listening to it. You're like, fuck, it just...
quite fast as well.
Yeah.
You've got more the chords.
I don't know if anyone's ever got to the end, though.
But let's talk gigs and that. Can you recall your first gig together as a band, and what was that like?
First gig was the
what was that?
That park, the hub.
Not the uni thing, was it? The Mac.
The Mac.
Yeah.
I think of being there.
Where was that?
It's
where's the Mac?
Yeah, I don't.
Where's the Mac?
I think it's in Edgbaston. It's like an art sort of space.
Opposite Warwickshire Cricket.
Yes, it's not like it's not like a venue. It's like an art space, really. I don't even know why we got asked to play there. I think it was part of some. Might have even been part of some Freshers Week or something. Yeah. That was our first one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and it was all right.
How would you say you developed from that gig to like now?
More keyboards.
More keys. Yeah. Turn the keys up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll tell you exactly why. Because me and Tom were a two-piece for a little bit, and then we sort of got Stu in. I think the first few gigs that we did, Stu was kind of just playing with us, or sort of playing along with some of the songs that me and Tom had knocked out. Whereas now, or even just after the first couple of gigs, Stu has just like brought all of his energy and all of his textures and all of his ideas, and now we're just a three-piece now, and that's just how it's always been for such a long time. So I think that's probably how it's changed from the first few gigs. Like Stu has sort of beautifully integrated himself into what we do.
Yeah, less is more and be more subtle. And then once I got in, it was just like land and expand.
That's exactly it, wasn't it? Yeah.
So, is there anything like we haven't talked about that you want to chat about?
The only other thing really is, the Hare and Hounds gig is coming up, and then we're going to release another single before Christmas. It's going to be called Breadcrumbs. It was the last song that we did tonight, actually, and that's going to be.
We should record it.
It's a weird one because it's going to be our next single, but there's not actually any lyrics.
No, just ooh-woos.
Which is
that's cool. I like instrumentals.
But to release a single with no lyrics, in my opinion, it's out there, but it's
that's
catchy enough,
good.
in my opinion.
That's what I like out there, man. When you could go on tangents and shit like that.
It is a bit. It's one of those songs that takes you on a bit of a journey. You know, it's pretty full on. It's got so much energy. I wouldn't say it was too trippy. That's kind of less psyche and more like krautrocky. I don't know if you're into kind of noise.
I love
Can
shit
and
like
stuff.
that. I love Can.
Our drummer's a massive noise fan.
Massively into Can.
So
and noise.
so Breadcrumbs is kind of more down that sort of route.
Oh, that's cool, man. I can't wait for that. I'm really looking forward to that single. So, I've got 2 more questions. So have you got any recommended bands that are like on your vibes?
There is a band. Stu's got loads of bands. In fact, Stu is like my go-to. Like if I'm bored of what I'm listening to, Stu will listen to and he'll find me over some bits, and some of it's super random. But there's always some gems in there. There's one that he sent me. I don't even think you remember this. A band called Drug Dealer, who I think have been knocking around for quite a while. I think they're like a West Coast kind of band.
Sounds cool.
And they're.
They don't turn up very fast.
No, they don't. But they're super dreamy, man. Like real dreamy and like experimental. That's cool. You got anything, Stu?
I've been listening to lately. Jonathan Wilson's new album's really good. But if you're about local stuff, you can watch this space because I'm doing another project with a band called Messinsura. Rob has very kindly been doing some production on that for me over at Wolverhampton. So we're looking to get our first gig soon.
Cool, man.
And that's like super psyche. That's like super garage, trippy, like real.
We could sort out an interview for that one, like that's right up my alley. That is
cool.
Man. And last of all, have you got anything inspiring to say to the listeners?
Inspiring to say. That's a really interesting question, man.
You need that one question, don't you, man?
Some people get high and some people go deep.
Try and do both. Our mantra. I don't know if this is right. Our mantra for today is no one gives a fuck. And sometimes you gotta remember, because I think as a musician you can get a bit stressed with stuff, man, with gigs and with this, and is this going well, is this going to sell, is this going to do well? You can get a bit stressed, and you just got to remember no one gives a fuck.
Wise word, man.
You can take that however you want.
But thank you for getting me into the gig tonight. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Man, and thank you for joining me for the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Take care, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks, man.
Ta-ra.
Pleasure.
Man, thank you.
coming. Oh, love is coming. Oh, love is coming now. Thank you very much. This is going to be our last one for tonight.
Well, that was The Good Water. Absolutely enjoyed recording with them, and it's nice chatting to people that have the same taste in music as me as well. So I really enjoyed that. And check out the In-Store podcast as well. Like, it was absolutely, well, I think it was just me filming a set because I don't think I'd done a podcast because we'd done this podcast. So yeah, check that out. There's some good footage from that. It's so you got them as a live act at a gig on here, and then you got an acoustic version. See what they're like acoustically. They're absolutely brilliant, a bit different, and it was a nice vibe on the streets of Wolverhampton as well. So as I always say, I don't know what podcast is up next, but please leave a like and subscribe if you like what you're seeing or what you're listening to on here, and get sharing. Listen to The Good Water on Spotify. The music videos are on YouTube. I really highly recommend checking out. As you can see, there was some featured on the video today. So yeah, go check out their latest single, Breadcrumbs. Take care and see you later.